Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. So you're going to need out your notes, a calculator, and a pen or pencil. Here we go. Don't write this down, but today we're going to be talking about what kind of triangles we can have. We're either going to have a right triangle, an acute triangle, or an obtuse triangle. Now this next slide, you need to make sure you have all of this written down, okay? What makes a right triangle? Well, first of all, we need to have a right angle. So when I give you 3 side lengths, in order for us to determine how it is a right angle, we are going to be using the Pythagorean theorem. When we use the Pythagorean theorem, both sides of the equation must be equal to each other. So this is very, very important. In order for it to be a right angle, both sides of the equations must be equal to each other. So that's how we know if it's a right. Now we're going to talk about what happens if it's an obtuse triangle. Well, if it's an obtuse triangle, the hypotenuse is going to have the bigger number. So that's really important. Make sure we have this written down. It's going to have a bigger number. Okay? Now, if it's an acute triangle, the hypotenuse is going to have a smaller number. So make sure we have both these written down. It's very important. Okay? Now we're going to do 4 examples and we'll be all done. All right? So for each one of these examples, I'm going to give you 3 side lengths of a triangle, and we have to determine if it's going to be a right, acute, or obtuse triangle. So here, this is going to be my A, my B, and my C. My C, my hypotenuse, which is my C, always has to be the largest number. So I'm going to have 8 squared plus 18 squared equals 24 squared. 8 squared is 64. 18 squared is 324. And 24 squared is 576. Now all we have to do is add those two together. So 64 plus 324 is 388, which equals 576. Now, these do not equal, so we know that it can't be a right triangle. Now what we have to do is look at this number, which is our hypotenuse. Since this number is the larger number, it's a big number, it's the largest, we are going to have these 3 side lengths create an obtuse triangle. All right, here comes example number 2. Use this one, A, B, and C. So 12.3 squared plus 16.4 squared equals 20.5 squared. So if I go through and I square these, here I'm going to get 151.29 plus 268.96 equals 420.25. When I add these two together, I'm going to get 420.25, which equals 420.25. Since these do actually equal each other, this is going to be a right triangle. All right, 2 more examples. Here's the next one. I have A, B, and C. So I have 8 squared plus 40 squared equals 41 squared. 64 plus 1,600 equals 1,681. Have to add these together, so I get 1,664 equals 1,681. They do not equal each other, so I know it can't be a right. So I look at my hypotenuse, which is always my C squared, and since this number is larger, so it's bigger, it's going to be obtuse. All right, off to our last example. Now when we check this, first thing we have to do, we have to have our A and B be our smaller numbers. So the square root of 67 is approximately 8.2, so that's going to be smaller than 9. So I'm going to call that A, B, and C. So I have 4 squared plus, make sure you guys, whenever you take the square of a square root, put it in parentheses. So it's going to be parentheses square root of 67 squared equals 9 squared. So 4 squared is 16 plus, those cancel, so it's going to be 67 equals 9 squared, which is 81. Add these together, 60, so I'm going to get 83 equals 81. Now we know these don't equal each other, so it can't be right. Now this number here, our hypotenuse, our c squared, is smaller than the other one. So since it's smaller, this is going to be an acute triangle. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will be seeing you soon. Bye.